I've seen a lot of anime get popular and I get into them myself. While Dragon Ball will always hold a special place for me, I've loved a lot of others like Attack on Titan, Sword Art Online, and more recently, Demon Slayer. So when CyberConnect 2 was brought in to make an arena fighter based around Demon Slayer, I was interested. They've always made gorgeous and fun anime games, whether it's Naruto, Dragon Ball, or something else. Here is my review of Demon Slayer: The Hinokami Chronicles for the Nintendo Switch. With story, this game is a retelling of the Demon Slayer anime, complete with the English dub set by default. Well, most of the anime anyways. We get pretty much everything from Season 1 and the Mugen Train movie. We don't have anything from the Entertainment District arc in the game, though a couple characters from that arc have released for Versus mode. Now, Demon Slayer is about Tanjiro and his little sister, Nezuko. When Tanjiro is away in town, a human-eating demon brutally murders his family and transforms Nezuko into a demon. After finding that Nezuko actually remembers and protects him, Tanjiro goes on a journey to become a demon slayer in order to find a cure and restore Nezuko back into a human. Now, since this is a retelling and it's a CyberConnect retelling, can you play this game if you haven't already watched the anime? I would say maybe, but there are some stipulations here. You do get the entire story, but it jumps around and isn't entirely linear. The game starts at the end of episode 3 during the Boulder training, and you don't get proper elaboration on a lot of things as the main story goes. The beginning episodes with Nezuko becoming a demon and a lot of the backstories for the boss characters are moved into optional side scenes, and they're kinda watered down slideshow stills from the anime with Tanjiro just narrating a summary. I did like that they added some subtle foreshadowing scenes in the final selection area, but with a lot of those moments shortened and put into slideshow summaries, it doesn't have nearly enough emotional impact that many of those had in the anime. I would at least watch episodes 1 through 3 before playing the game. When it comes to gameplay, this is a 3D arena fighter. As you trek through the game, you'll be watching cinematic story events for the campaign and fighting off demons and bosses in 3D arena style combat that feels similar to games like the Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm games. Now, first of all, this is just the base game of Demon Slayer. We do have the free update content that lets you play as a handful of the demons you encounter in story mode and the group match option that was recently added to online play. But all of the DLC, like Nezuko's advanced demon form, have to be bought separately. With game modes, you have story mode to trek through the campaign and unlock the majority of the playable roster. Versus mode is there for you to play matches against the CPU or other players in both local and online matches. Then you have rewards for using in-game currency to purchase cosmetics for your profile or new characters and music. And finally, archives will let you see all the stuff you've unlocked, be it costumes, photo, or music. But the bulk of this game is going to be story mode. This is a campaign set in chapters where each one has you in a sort of 3D level as you explore. These maps are essentially you just walking around an environment looking for markers to advance the story forward. Like going around Butterfly Mansion to find your friends and see what they're up to, or wandering around a city talking to NPCs trying to locate a demon. These segments are also what essentially pad the game out to have more to do and more fights than the initial series did. On your way to tracking down the Swamp Demon, you'll encounter a few bland NPCs that will fight you. You also have collectibles in each exploration area in the form of hidden memory cutscenes to give you more context, or simple currency points to use for buying rewards. But the real fun begins when you get into combat. You're in 1v1 matches and can freely explore a circular 3D arena with the camera always keeping you somewhat locked onto your opponent. As far as arsenal goes, you have two basic attack types. Melee combos you can do with the Y button, and a slew of skills each character can use energy to use with the X button and the analog in different directions. You've also got charging assist attacks from companion characters during certain battles, or switching between characters altogether depending on what the story has you do. And while there is a lot of depth here with timing and assist into your combos and doing proper guarding and throws, just knowing basic combos will be more than enough to get you through story mode. It's really not that high on difficulty. That brings us to how enemies act. In this game, picture yourself a Dark Souls player, but not playing a hard as nails action RPG. In Dark Souls, you essentially guard and dodge enemy attacks and strike back during openings, and that's basically what you do here too. To do damage, you have to interrupt and get demons into a stun combo, and when they're in their attack strings, it's hard to find an opening and do that without being hit and stunned yourself in the middle of their combo. The flow is more guarding and dodging around the attacks until they're done and punishing the opening with a devastating string of combos, skills, and assists to bring their health down. Thankfully, this is very easy to do. Demons will typically glow red when doing their attacks, so you just watch for the red aura to disappear and be close enough to do a quick dash and get that first melee hit in to start your combo. And I really like this system. Everything you do is really fast, flashy, and cinematic. Every bit of combat at least in the story sense, looks amazing. I always loved it when a boss went into another phase. You got that big cinematic closing in on them with their little quote, and then they go into their big crazy string of attacks. It looks really good. And there's a lot of attention to detail CyberConnect put into certain aspects of the game. Every boss demon from Demon Slayer has a flavor or gimmick to them. Like with the drum demon, the game does a nice job of showing you how the drums change the rooms early on in exploration, and even more in the QTEs you have to do in combat to be able to move around the room while he is constantly hitting the drums and messing with physics. Now, as you go through these battles and complete story stages, you'll unlock future chapters as well as extra missions. These aren't really special in a story sense, though one of them does include a little nod to the temple demon that Tanjiro and Nezuko fight in episode 2. They're really just bland demons you fight in an arena, but with the twist of not having locked characters. You can actually choose a duo from pretty much anyone from the unlockable roster outside of DLC. So if you don't want to fight with Tanjiro and Nezuko, you don't. You can make a team out of Sabito and Zenny. The story mode screen is also where you can access those extra optional memories, the little slideshow story scenes for more elaboration that the main story doesn't show you, as well as just going back into those explorable story missions again if you missed anything. Now, after doing all this stuff in story mode, is there much you can do outside of that? Essentially, doing online mode for daily and seasonal missions are what will keep you playing. These will swap out a lot, and they're a way to earn more points for buying rewards. And considering the Academy version of most characters in the main cast do cost a good 4,000 points a piece, you will need a lot of them. For reference, when I completed the story mode, I only had enough to buy about half of them, and they are worth getting. They're not just palette costume swaps of the other characters. If you take a look, the ultimate attack that Academy Nezuko uses in the game is completely different than the ultimate attack that Demon Nezuko uses. And that brings us to content and length. If you watch through the cinematic scenes for story mode and don't skip them, it'll probably take you about 8 to 10 hours to get through that mode. And doing online missions to grab those other characters can definitely add more time on top of that, but that's not a super big amount of content for a $60 game. Next up is presentation. As always, CyberConnect has made a beautiful game on the Switch. There are small jaggies here and there and a little bit of a soft blur when you go into handheld mode, but there's a lot of depth and color to everything and it looks good. And performance is good as well. It stays at a constant 30 frames per second and doesn't drop even in the busier combat areas. With that out of the way, let's go into battery life. On the original model, we get a battery range of 2 hours and 40 up to 2 hours and 55. The Nintendo Switch Lite gets a range of 2 hours and 51 up to 3 hours and 30. The Redboxer V2 2019 model gets a range of 5 hours and 4 up to 5 hours and 44, and the OLED model gets a range of 5 hours and 33 up to 6 hours and 22. In conclusion, Demon Slayer is a beautiful anime adaptation that transitioned to the Switch well. Now on the downside, it doesn't have a massive amount of content if you don't want to do anything outside of story mode, and the way the plot is shown makes it a bit thrown around for those new to the series. But it's still a fun and hectic arena brawler for fans of Demon Slayer to trek through. Reviews to Go rates Demon Slayer for the Nintendo Switch an 8 out of 10. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.